What's up, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And this one I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm also going to break down why the market's doing a good job at holding up so far, why technicals remain a lot more bullish as we head into December. But just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15 in total, not to mention 8.1% APY on uninvested cash. The offer ends very soon in just one day. Anyways, now let's talk about the market. So, as far as SPY is going, okay, we're looking very bullish on the 4-hour time frame. I mentioned to everyone we're going to be watching to see how well SPY can hold above 600. If we hold above that, I said our target was 602.5, if not 604. And if we did not hold above that, we'd be looking for 598. So what happened was SPY started off with a little bit of a push, came back down, then it started to hold above 600 very nicely and slowly inched its way up higher as the day went on, having a nice trend day. And now we got a very, very nice close. So the question is, what's going to happen for next week and what do I see for the charts? Let's talk about that first. So this data is basically going to be very interesting. I first want to say that there's not really anything coming out for Monday before market open, but then for Monday after close, we have very, very minor earnings. For Tuesday, we have a couple of banks announcing earnings, not to mention Salesforce and a few others. For Wednesday, we have Chewy, not to mention Foot Locker, Dollar Tree, and the list goes on. And then for Thursday, we have Dollar Tree, TD Bank, and a few more, and very minor earnings for Friday. So that's what's happening for the earnings calendar, at least for next week. And then on top of this, we have quite a bit of data coming out. So Monday is when we have the ISM manufacturing numbers coming out. So lots of manufacturing data at 10 a.m. And then a couple of Fed speakers. So look for some high volatility at 10 a.m. on Monday. For Tuesday, we have the JOLTS job openings and job quits reports. This is going to be very important to give us more information about what's going to happen with jobs and how the strength is looking, at least for that sector. So watch that very carefully. For Wednesday, we have more ISM data coming out, lots of services data. I think later on, we have Jerome Powell giving a speech at 1:45 p.m., so keep that in mind for Wednesday. For Thursday, it's very minor data that's coming out, just a couple of exports and imports, not to mention initial jobless claims. And finally, for Friday, we have the unemployment numbers, which are going to be very, very important. So we have very important data coming out throughout the week. So make sure you guys are ready for that and expect some high volatility, especially when Jerome Powell gives his speech on Wednesday. Besides that, there's not really anything else that's coming out. And then we also happen to have our fear and greed index. Right now, things are very greedy, as there's still a lot of buyers who are present. On top of this, momentum remains at extremes as the market continues to pump. And then we also have the puts and call option ratio continuing to dump because we're starting to see more of these puts being closed. There's a lot of buyers who are still present, pushing this into extreme greed. On top of this, we have the VIX at a very neutral place. It's continuing to fall. There's no sign of a bounce on the VIX. It's looking more bearish. For now, the bulls are the ones who have the edge. So what do I see for the markets? What's my view? I'm going to be very blunt with this video just to go over everything really quickly. Just know this, guys. I just wanted to say that right now we're looking bullish on SPY. There's no sign of rejection just yet. We need to see this lose these lows right here at the 601 area. If we lose this 601 zone, then I could be looking for essentially 600 and 598 all over again. But as long as we're above 601 at the very least, this is still favoring upside. There's no sign of a true rejection quite yet. So our next target is going to be around 604. If that breaks, look for 605, and then 607 is our targets. Overall, it's on a very, very strong uptrend. The 4 hours looking strong, and there's no sign of rejection on SPY quite yet. When you look at the daily time frame, this is also looking more bullish. As of right now, it's doing a good job. I think that this is still favoring the upwards direction. So far, the market's bullish. I will turn bearish if SPY starts losing like 600, 601 in that range. We have not done that yet, so I can't officially turn bearish. And as of right now, the charts favor upside. Just looking at the trend, always remember the saying that goes, the trend is your friend. And so far, that's what has the edge. Now, for ES, what's interesting about ES is we just barely broke all-time highs. We have a tough resistance at 6,060. If we break that, this thing will squeeze to 6,080, then eventually the 6,100 area. If it pushes and rejects, we're looking at the main support at 6,025. Overall, it looks more bullish, and this could continue to squeeze. Look for a test of 6,060. We'll see what kind of reaction we get, but the chart remains bullish. There's no sign of rejection. We're continuing to make higher highs and higher lows, and so far, it is still favoring the bulls. For Nvda, as long as we don't lose 138 and 135, this is favoring upside. Because we got bought back up and we managed to close very close to, if not very near our 20 EMA. So generally, as long as we're above 138 on Monday, we do favor a push to about 140, and we'll see if we get a rejection off that or not. We have to lose 135 to turn back down. Otherwise, this is favoring a push closer to 140. Overall, Nvidia is doing a good job at holding up. For Bitcoin, we're doing a decent job. Just note that we have a nice inverse head and shoulders like structure. It could dip a little bit to retest its previous resistance becoming support at 60 or 96,800, excuse me, before it tries to bounce again. So look for a small dip, then a bounce is the most likely possibility. And just know that Bitcoin is looking more bullish in my opinion. So it's doing a good job at least thus far. As far as Tesla goes, just know this. We're holding our supports very nicely. We have a nice cup and then handle like structure. As long as we don't lose 340 and 332, we're favoring upside for a push this imbalance, taking us up to about 354, not to mention 360. So I will turn more bearish if we lose 332 on Tesla, our 50 EMA. But as of right now, we're getting bought back up after some good news has come out for Tesla. There's been some talk about them expanding to India, not to mention more and more good talk as from Wedbush and many others out there who are talking about how Tesla has a lot of potential to continue to increase. So that is what's making many of these investors very bullish. So this has more upside potential going into next week. Looking at the cup and handle like structure, as long as you don't lose 332, I think Tesla's favoring upside for the 350s essentially. For other factors out there, we have NQ. NQ is more bullish as long as we don't lose 20,869. We're favoring 21,000 as our targets. If that breaks, 21,100 is coming next. This chart's a little bit more bullish now because we got bought back up and we're approaching December, and so far it's favoring the upwards direction. QQQ looks more bullish as long as it does not lose 507 and 505. We're favoring a push for 512 and 515 because of the fact that we're just continuing to get bought back up. So I see potential in this nonetheless. For Apple, we look more bullish as we're making higher highs and higher lows. As long as we don't lose 233, we're favoring a push for essentially 238. So I think we could be pushing for 238 and 240. And there's a good chance we continue this pump. So watch and see if that ends up being the case. I think we're doing a good job at least thus far. For other factors out there, we have MSTR. We'll have to see what kind of reaction we get from here. This has kind of like an inverse head and shoulders like structure, but there's some weakness building because we are making lower highs. I think this might try to retest 400, but if we can't break and hold above 396, we're coming back down to 380. So it's not looking that strong. It's still range bound for the time being. We need to try to break our high of the day to continue to push. Otherwise, it's still kind of stuck in a range and it's going to likely continue to be range bound, in my opinion. For the IWM Russell 2000, we're looking a little bit more bullish because we're seeing a nice accumulation here. As long as we don't lose 240, we're looking for a push for 244. For Amazon, we look a little bit more bullish. As long as it does not lose 205, I think this is on its way to fill this imbalance up to about this 210.8 area, looking a bit more bullish to me. Meta is starting to uptrend very nicely. This could be on its way up to that 580 psychological target. Looking bullish so far. There's no sign of it losing 565 to turn bearish. It has not done that. It looks more bullish. Microsoft is more bullish as we're holding our EMAs. We could be on our way back up for about 426. Looking pretty good thus far. And Google is just consolidating around 170. We need to break past 172.5 to turn bullish or lose 168 to turn bearish. Otherwise, we're just stuck in the middle. With that being said, I thank you all so much for listening. I really appreciate you guys so much for your attention. Just know the market's doing a good job at holding up. And so far, the bulls have the edge. I will turn bearish if the market flips to bearish if we start losing some key supports, but there's no sign of that quite yet. So overall, the bulls have the edge. Keep that in mind, guys. I just want to thank you all one more time for listening. Please have a good weekend. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. And for those who are shopping for Black Friday, stay safe out there, guys. Drive carefully. Be very careful because I know the stores are going to be pretty wild. And please have a very, very good time. I thank you all so much for listening. I'll see you guys again very soon. And peace out.